I transmigrated into a malicious male supporting character. The female lead is asking the male lead to go to jail for me and promising to marry me after he gets out. I carried my bicycle and went to the police station to turn myself in overnight. Are you kidding? Don't drag me down just because you are ignorant of the law. Seriously. Female lead. You are really punishable. When cool. As long as you go to jail for Nash. 5 years later, I will marry you. When I woke up, I heard a conversation between a man and a woman outside the door. A large amount of content flooded into my mind. And I then realized that I had transmigrated into a malicious male supporting character in a dog-blood, tragic love novel. I, Nash, a standard tall, rich and handsome man, grew up with a female-led moonlight. Once, when I was drunk, I accidentally hit someone. To help me, Nyla asked the male lead Cole to take the blame for me and was imprisoned for 5 years. As an exchange condition, she promised to marry him after he was released. However, 5 years later, what she waited for was a corpse. Nyla was heartbroken and only then realized that the person she truly loved was Cole. Later, at an event, Nyla accidentally saw a man who looked 7 points similar to Cole. Only then did she know that Cole had deceived her by faking his death. Nyla was shocked and angry. And at the same time, there was also an ecstasy that she was unwilling to admit. The two met again and started another tangled and tragic love affair. As for me, a pivotal person, a touchstone on their love journey, after all kinds of crazy acts, I was finally recognized by the female lead who suddenly realized the truth and had a miserable end. I am really the big sucker. I got up directly from the bed, came to the door, and looked outside. The two were standing outside. The man was tall and the woman was slender. Cole had red eyes and gave Nyla a bleak smile. Is this what you want? Okay. I promise you. My heart skipped a beat. Don't promise her. Man. This is the crime of harboring. At this time, Nyla sensed something and looked back, showing a look of distress. Nash, why are you up? You haven't recovered yet. Lie back down and rest well. Cole looked at us as if in a trance. I forced a smile at her. I suddenly remembered that I forgot something in the car. I have to go back and get it. The person was hit not long ago. Nash was extremely panicked and fled on the spot. Finally, he came to find Nyla and fainted for a while because of excessive shock. Damn it. This male supporting character is really cowardly. Nyla pondered for a moment. What thing? I'll ask someone to get it. I said with difficulty, it's very important. I'd better go by myself to be more at ease. Nyla thought that I was worried about leaving evidence. In the end, she nodded and agreed. I rushed out of the door, pedaled my bicycle and rushed all the way to the nearest police station. 2 guys were on duty. Seeing my hurried look, they asked, "What can I do for you?" I gasped, I want to turn myself in. To the expressions of the 2 guys instantly became serious. I quickly told them the situation. I drank half a glass of beer just now and hit someone while driving, because I was too panicked. I ran away. Then I remembered that this is illegal, so I hurried back. I have already called 120 on the way. I don't know how the situation is over there. Please go and check it quickly. I was like pouring beans from a bamboo tube, telling all the things truthfully. I also rolled up my sleeves and showed my arm. By the way, draw my blood quickly, for an alcohol test. The 2 guys. This degree of frankness is probably quite astonishing in the entire realm of surrendering. But they reacted very quickly. They quickly controlled me and sent the police to the scene of the incident. Only then did I collapse on the chair and breathe a sigh of relief. Whew, I hope it's in time. At this time, NYLAH's call came. Nash, why have you been gone for so long? Is there something wrong? I coughed. I thought about it for a long time and felt that this is ultimately my fault. So I surrendered myself. Nyla was shocked and lost her voice. What? I said vaguely. I am at the police station now. Let's not talk for now. Then I hung up the phone neatly. At this time, Nash had just returned to the country not long ago. He was surprised to find that Nyla, who had always been chasing after him, had a man named Cole beside her, and it seemed that she cared a lot about him. Jealous, he deliberately spilled wine on his clothes, pretending to be drunk. He wanted to test Neela. To be more realistic, he drank 2 sips. The alcohol concentration definitely did not reach the level of drunk driving. More importantly, the person he hit was actually not seriously injured at all. Only a little skin was scraped on his body. At the beginning, when Nash found out that he had hit someone, he was indeed very panicked. But he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he got out of the car and checked the person's condition. He found that the other person was originally a fracture patient. The impact actually didn't cause a big problem. So Nash came up with a plan. He promised benefits to the other party and asked the other party to cooperate with him in acting out a play. He deliberately set up a trap to let Nylas end Cole with her own hands. In this way, Cole's life will always have an indelible stain. It can also alienate the relationship between the two, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He had enough confidence to make Nyla forget Cole and fall in love with him again in these 5 years. When I came just now, I had already communicated with the person who was hit. The money will still be given as promised, but he must tell the truth. He should have been sent to the hospital for a comprehensive examination by now, of course. It is the hospital where he went to see the fracture before. Nyla came as quickly as possible. After all, she is a willful and pampered young lady. Nyla sent away the police officer who was guarding me and got the opportunity to be alone with me. Nash, you are too impulsive. She looked extremely anxious. Your health is not good in the first place. With this incident, how can the operation be done? Operation? What operation? It took me a second to react. And then I was shocked. Damn it, how did I forget? Before sending Cole to prison, she forcibly dug one of his kidneys and transplanted it to me, who had kidney failure. 3. The matter of kidney failure was also fabricated by Nash. The purpose was to make Nyla hurt Cole. This also laid the groundwork for Cole to fake his death later and get rid of Nyla. Without this step, how could there be a chasing wife crematorium? The plan went very smoothly, but the key is, I am not the original Nash. Thinking that the male lead's kidney was removed for me, I felt a faint pain somewhere on my body. I was just about to tell you. I looked at her. After this matter is over, I want to go to a few more hospitals for examinations. Maybe it's a misdiagnosis? Nala pursed her red lips. Then, with red eyes, she threw herself into my arms. Nash, I know it's hard for you to accept this. Don't be afraid. I will always be with you. I got goosebumps all over. Damn it. You were sleeping with the male lead yesterday. Now you throw yourself into another man's arms. You really don't get tired. I quietly pushed her away. Let's wait for the news from the hospital first. By the way, what about Cole? Didn't he come with you? Hearing me ask this, a trace of irritation flashed across NYLH's face. Don't worry about him. As one can imagine, Cole will definitely not come. What kind of person can watch the woman he likes show affection in front of another man? But this is also good. Maybe it can make him see earlier that the female lead is a psycho and stay away as soon as possible. Then you stay here and wait with me, so that she won't run to the male lead again and say some rubbish. Nyla would never refuse my request. What she was most worried about was that I would go to jail. So after a while, she went out and made a phone call, looking at her frowning and worried face. I yawned. She is calling for someone, but it's in vain to look for someone. Although this is a forced love story, the young lady is not omnipotent. Otherwise, the original male lead couldn't really be sent in for 5 years. Moreover, without my secret pushing, this car accident is just a small accident and won't get serious. As expected, the person went to the hospital. There were only 2 contusions on his body. The only serious fracture was an old injury before. The alcohol content in my body is also very low. Not enough to be a crime. The final result is, my driver's license is deducted 12 points and I pay a fine of 2,000. For I am very satisfied with this result. Anyway, I have a lot of money. In the future, If I can't drive, I can just hire a driver. The most important thing is that the male lead doesn't have to go to jail for me anymore. Nyla was puzzled by this result, afraid that she would suspect. I explained a few more words. In fact, I didn't drink much that day. The wine accidentally spilled on me. Fortunately, the person is fine. Otherwise, it would be really troublesome. The doubts in Nylah's eyes finally disappeared. She gently leaned her head on my shoulder. It's good that you are fine. You don't know how scared I was when you came to me. I rolled my eyes in my heart. You are so timid. Yet you still plan to break the law? But I still have to maintain Nash's basics combat persona. By the way, accompany me to the hospital for a re-examination. The previous physical examination report was forged by Nash. As long as I go to the hospital again, it can be explained logically. Nyla immediately agreed. Okay. I will accompany you now. As she said that, she was about to call a private hospital to clear the place. I quickly stopped her and emphasized, there's no need to be so troublesome. I'll just go to a university-affiliated hospital. Nyla frowned. There are a lot of people there. You will be disturbed then. I suppressed the anger in my heart. You don't understand anything. That's a proper public tertiary hospital. The equipment in private hospitals is incomplete. Why go there? I don't want to trouble you. It's just a checkup. It will be quick. Seeing my insistence, Nyla finally compromised and accompanied me to that hospital. However, unexpectedly, we met Cole in the hospital. He was holding a thermos in his hand. There were faint dark circles under his eyes. At a glance, he hadn't slept all night. But the male lead is indeed the male lead. Even so haggard, he is still handsome. Cole also saw me and Nyla beside me. Just as they were about to pass by, Nyla suddenly called out to him. What are you doing here? Cole had an expressionless face. It has nothing to do with you. His indifferent attitude made Nyla very unhappy. Just as she was about to continue asking, a young woman in a white coat came from the corridor. Cole? Why did it take so long? I followed and looked over and saw a gentle and delicate face. Vov, this is your friend? Cole shook his head. I don't know her. Let's go. I subconsciously looked at Nyla. Oh ho. Her face turned green. 5NYLAH stared at the backs of the two leaving. I think if I weren't here, she should have chased after them undasked loudly. It was also at this time that I remembered the identity of that woman, Gu King. Faye is Cole's senior in college and an outstanding student in the medical department. She fell in love with him at first sight and has been silently guarding him for many years. Cole later escaped by faking his death with her help. At this time point, right, it should be that Cole's mother had a sudden heart attack. Rose sent her to the hospital. In fact, Cole's life experience is very miserable. His father gambled and ran away after owing a huge amount of gambling debts. The debt fell on Cole. Nyla solved Cole's gambling debts and kept him by her side. To put it bluntly, Cole sold himself to Nyla. But in these 4 years, he irresistibly fell in love with Nyla. After all, this is a young and beautiful woman. It wasn't until Nyla asked him to take the blame for Nash that he realized that he dared to imagine that Nyla was sincere to him. But Nyla knew nothing about this. She only thought that this man could endure anything to marry her, and the marriage she promised was the highest reward for her. During the 5 years when Cole was in prison, it was Faye who was always helping to take care of his mother. Unfortunately, on the eve of Cole's release, his mother died after failed rescue. This also made Cole resent Nyla even more. I didn't expect that they could end up happily ever after in the end. My appearance changed the direction of the plot. The female lead and the female supporting character met in advance. It seems to be another catalyst. I think Nylah's teeth are almost crushed. At this moment, she is still so stupid that she doesn't know that this emotion of hers is called jealousy. But I think this female lead is not worthy of being with Cole anyway. The male lead's mother is in critical condition. But you are still here thinking about your love and not love. How can you compare with the female supporting character who silently pays? I think that Faye is much more suitable for the male lead than her. Neela. I called her. Only then did she wake up. I'll accompany you to get the examination results, she said. As expected. My body is all normal. I breathed a long sigh of relief. Now it's good. The male lead's kidney is safe. But NYLH's mood was not very good. After getting the results, she was always absent-minded. Is she still thinking about the male lead? When he needed you, you weren't there. When he doesn't need you, you feel uncomfortable again. I didn't have time to ask him why he was here just now. NYLH's face darkened. We are not familiar. Why care about him? 6. I really want to applaud. What is called saying one thing but meaning another. Open your mouth. If it weren't for you, the male lead wouldn't have suffered so much. Perhaps it was the scene of Faye and Cole together just now that deeply stimulated Neela. She didn't want to stay for even a moment longer and quickly pulled me away. After sending her home, I immediately took a taxi and went back to the hospital and found Cole. He was very surprised to see me. You are looking for me? I asked directly. Are you short of money? There was an instant hint of wariness in Cole's eyes. I understand his reaction. After all, not long ago, Nyla asked him to take the blame for me. In his eyes, I am not a good person. I looked at his mother who had just fallen asleep on the hospital bed and motioned for him to come out and talk. After hesitating for a moment, he still followed. Your mother needs an operation. It will cost a lot of money, and the subsequent rehabilitation treatment is also a large expense. I handed over a bank card. The money in here should be enough. Cole didn't take it immediately. What are your conditions? Do you want me to leave Neela? I smiled. That's not it. I want to hire you to work in my company. Cole was stunned, as if thinking he had misheard. He was full of astonishment. What did you say? I said, I have seen your graduation project. It's very good. Just in time. My company is lacking a designer. If you are willing to come, this money can be considered as your advance salary. Cole studied design in college. He is very talented in this field. Originally, after graduation, he could have a great future. Unfortunately, he was designed by Nash and went to prison. 5 years later, he made a fresh start. When he appeared in front of Nyla again, he was already the boss of a large advertising company. This is a truly potential money-making tree. If not now, when? Cole looked hesitant. So, you want to buy my design? Huh? Why does this seem a bit wrong? Cole looked at the bank card and finally seemed to make up his mind. He took a deep breath. Okay. I promise you. The design works within the next year can all be released under your name. Damn it. I actually forgot about this. In the original text, Nash was jealous of Cole's talent. So he had someone steal his design draft and won the gold medal in the design competition. Which really screwed this guy over. This incident happened just a month ago. Cole mentioned it to Nyla once. But Nyla misunderstood that he was jealous of Nash. The two directly fell into a cold war and almost broke up. Now that I suddenly popped up and said these words, it's no wonder Cole would misunderstand. I quickly explained. No, I sincerely hire you. Your designs will all be signed with your name. For the previous competition, I was wrong. I apologize to you. The prize money and compensation will also be given to you. If you still don't feel at ease, I can give you a part of the company's equity. Joking. This is a super big shot who will make a lot of money in the future. Joining forces to start a company, I will definitely make a profit. 7. Cole probably thought I was crazy, but he really needed money now. So he didn't ask more and directly chose to agree. After giving out the bank card and finalizing the cooperation with him, I was floating on air. Now I not only protected my merit, but also broadened my financial path. More importantly, in the future, Nyla will never have a reason to kill me for revenge for her true love. Isn't it good for a guy to just be a tall, rich and handsome man? This life is wonderful. So I called a few friends and went out to drink and celebrate. Hey, Nash, why didn't Miss Neela accompany you today? A-boy was full of teasing. She actually let you come to such a place to have fun alone? I held up my wine glass and smiled. She is busy. What can calling her to this kind of occasion do except spoil the fun? Another boy also laughed. I don't know how many men can even get close to her. But you are always thinking about avoiding her. You really don't know how to enjoy yourself. Kid. There was a hint of soreness in his words. I smiled. Hey, these people are still too naive. What she really cares about is actually Cole. But such a young lady is really good to you when she is good to you. And she is merciless when she turns against you. Being favored by her is really bad luck. At this time, a boy came back from the bathroom and mysteriously sat down next to me. Brother Zay. Guess who I saw downstairs just now? I casually asked. Not caring who. He chuckled. Cole? I was stunned. Why is he here? You tell me? The boy said lightly. Of course, it's because Nyla doesn't want him anymore. This kind of person is also stupid. The young lady is just playing around. He takes himself as true love. A poor guy still wants to eat soft food. In fact, in people's eyes, he is nothing. He handed over a cigarette and pretended to light it for me. Isn't he just a... Don't even think about his background. How dare he compete with Brother Zay for Nyla? His words were a bit flattering to me. After all, everyone knows that Nyla likes me. Whatever I say, Nyla never refutes. I always feel a little uneasy and push it away. Walking out of the box door, I came to the railing on the second floor and looked down. Sure enough, I found Cole at a glance. This club is membership-based. The first floor is. Only members can come up. At this time, Cole obviously encountered trouble. A rich aunt in her 40s stopped him. She seemed to be drunk. We are old acquaintances anyway. Not even a drink? Cole's face turned green. In the past, to help his father pay off gambling debts, he worked here for a while. After being with Nyla, he naturally stopped working as a wine promoter. But now the rumor in the circle is that I am back and Nyla has abandoned him. Those sisters who have long had designs on him are naturally eager to make a move. I was about to go downstairs when suddenly, I heard a teasing voice from around the corner. Miss Nyla, don't you go down and take a look? I was shocked. Nyla is actually here too. The gorgeous, long dress swayed and her makeup was exquisitely done. The man standing beside her should be her business partner. Nyla used to bring Cole to such occasions a lot. But tonight she is upstairs and Cole is downstairs. Smart people can guess what happened. Nyla really dumped Cole. Otherwise, that man wouldn't have asked that sentence in such a frivolous tone. At this time, someone downstairs also noticed NYLH's existence. Immediately, everyone's eyes focused on upstairs. Cole also looked up in a daze. He first looked at Nyla, and then noticed me. I was tangled. This is not in the original text. According to the original development, Cole should have been locked up and waiting for sentencing by now. How could he appear here and such a dramatic plot occur? What will happen next? Just then, NYLH's voice suddenly rang out. Zay? I hit it very well. Why does this woman have such good eyesight? Originally, I told Nyla that I would rest at home tonight. Who knew I would meet here? Before I could think of how to explain, Nyla had already walked over. I could only keep smiling. A friend called me temporarily. It's not good to not give face. So I didn't have time to tell you. Don't mind. NYLH's expression was gentle. Completely different from the cold look she had when looking downstairs just now. She tilted her head and giggled. How could I? Very good. Now I confirm that she is deliberately acting in front of Cole on purpose. Cole took all this in and simply withdrew his gaze. Out of sight. Out of mind. When that aunt saw that Nyla was also there, she was still a little cautious. Seeing this scene, she was a bit uncertain. I didn't expect Miss Nyla to be here too. It's been a long time. I just invited him for a drink. Don't misunderstand. Nyla half leaned in my arms and then looked downstairs again. Her voice was cold. Misunderstand what? He is originally engaged in such a lowly job. I was shocked inside. Damn it. Why can't you be mute? Are your lips for saying such things? I immediately looked at Cole and saw that he was standing there motionless as if he hadn't heard. but his jaw was tense. Obviously, he was not to be trifled with. There is nothing more hurtful than this. Being humiliated in front of so many people. Who can bear it? I whispered to remind Nyla, but NYLH's expression didn't change at all. It was he who wanted to. It's really impossible to talk to her. I endured my irritation and took half a step back. This woman is unreliable. I still have to separate these two people as soon as possible to avoid more discomfort here. At this time, there was a sudden commotion downstairs. I looked over and saw that Cole had already drunk up the wine. Amidst the enthusiastic cheers, Nyla suddenly blushed with anger. 9 after drinking the wine. Cole said coldly, President Shao. Can I leave now? That rich aunt seemed to really like seeing him in a difficult and humiliated state. She smiled and said, how can one glass be enough? Shao Kahn used to be famous for his great capacity. Won't you give me this little face? Everyone looked over. Their eyes were full of gossip. This is the first time that NYLAH's two men have had a head-on confrontation in public. No matter what happens, it will become their after-dinner talk. Tomorrow I won't be able to give it to you. As I said that, without caring about NYLAH's expression, I walked directly to Cole's side. You didn't drive, right? I'll ask my driver to take you back. Cole looked at me strangely. Before he could finish speaking, he suddenly covered his heart with a painful expression. I was stunned. What's wrong with you? That rich aunt teased. What? Just one glass of wine? Can't be. Cole fell to the ground. I immediately reached out and grabbed him. What's wrong with you? Cole's face was extremely pale. I couldn't care about anything else. I could only shout anxiously. Quick. Out of the corner of my eye, NYLAH's expression was unprecedentedly panicked. She rushed down the stairs. Cole has hereditary heart disease. I sat on the chair in the hospital corridor and sighed again. In the original text, Cole had his first attack before being sent to prison because he had a fierce conflict with Nyla. Now because of my arrival, he avoided going to prison. I thought this wouldn't happen again. I didn't expect. I glanced to the side. Nyla seemed to still be in a daze. She didn't know at all that Cole had this disease. If he hadn't been sent here in time today, I'm afraid. Faye came out of the ward and looked over here. Nash. I got up here. Faye looked at me a few times and said, I was confused. The first person he wanted to see was actually not Nyla. Tenny LH had also stood up. She was about to go in directly. Nyla frowned and looked at Faye with an unfriendly look. The meaning was obvious. She suspected that Faye was lying undeliberately not letting her in. This is a hospital. She can't make a scene. I was too lazy to care about her. I simply nodded. Then I'll go in and take a look. Cole was lying on the hospital bed. His face was as white as paper. Hearing the movement, he turned his head and looked over. The whole person seemed to be covered in a layer of gray. He didn't have much energy. I sat down next to him. After thinking for a long time, I finally managed to say, now medical care is quite advanced. The treatment methods for this disease are also very mature. Early intervention is better. Cole was silent for a long time but shook his head. Actually, I wanted to say thank you. At that time, there were so many people. Only you helped me. I opened my mouth but didn't know what to say. Being humiliated in front of so many people and learning that one's own. It's hard for anyone to accept. Especially from beginning to end. Nyla was so high and mighty and watched inferently. I sincerely advised, dude. It's not worth being sad for such a woman. Cole was stunned for a moment. Probably didn't expect me to say such words. He smiled bitterly and self-deprecating lie. She doesn't love me. So she is like this. But she loves you and is willing to do anything for you. I was too naive. I actually thought that she had really been moved by me. I shook my head. No. She doesn't love me either. People like her don't understand what love is and don't understand. Really speaking, what she loves the most is herself. Frank was a bit confused, but she has been chasing you for so many years. I shrugged. She is not even willing to go to jail for me. Saying she loves me? If she really loved me so much that she couldn't live without me, She should have stood up and taken the blame for me in the first place, instead of dragging in another innocent person. Cole? This perspective was probably something he had never thought of. So for a moment, he didn't know how to respond. I patted his arm. Believe it or not, continuing to get entangled with this woman will only bring you more pain. You are so excellent. Why must you hang yourself on this one tree? He has loved Nyla for a fool for years. No matter how this woman hurts him, he is determined to give up loving her. This seems to have become a habit, even an instinct. So when he heard my words, it was normal for him to be at a loss for a while. However, those who are overly devoted often end up with nothing. I didn't expect that just chatting with him for a while could make him completely wake up. Seeing that the IV drip was almost finished, I stood up. I'll help you call the nurse to remove the needle. Faye came in together with the nurse. Neela also appeared at the same time. She tightly held my hand. Nash, what did he say to you? Did he give you trouble? As if she was extremely afraid that Cole would do something to me. She didn't think about it. What could a patient who just had a heart attack do? I kind of feel sorry for this guy. Out of the corner of my eye, Rose closed her eyes, seemingly unwilling to look at her anymore. I pushed her hand away. No, he is weak. Let's not disturb him. Let's go first. Nyla stood there motionless as if her feet had taken root. I really want to laugh. Obviously, she can't let go of Cole, but she just can't lower her face. Even until now, she hasn't even said an apology. The male lead is really unlucky to have her. The nurse removed the needle for Cole. Faye came to his side, her eyes full of distress. Cole, have some water. As she said that, she poured a cup of warm water and passed it over. Then she helped Cole lean against the head of the bed. Cole smiled at her. Senior. Thank you, Faye said gently. Take good care of yourself. Otherwise, someone will be distressed again later. Her words were purely out of concern. She was referring to Cole's mother. With her gentle and silently guarding personality, she would never say anything ambiguous and suggestive at this time. But it was different when it fell on NYLH's ears. She thought it was a provocation. She stepped forward and pulled Faye away, forcefully unslapped her hard smack. Who allowed you to touch him? Me? No, big sister. Your train of thought is really hard to understand. It's fine if you are cruel to the male lead yourself, but you can't stand others being good to the male lead? This is not an unwavering love for him. It's more like there is a deep hatred. Faye was caught off guard and half of her face quickly swelled up. Cole's face also changed. Senior. Nyla. What are you doing? It was okay if he didn't shout. This shout directly stimulated Nyla. She sneered. You have fallen in love with her long ago, right? Cole was also going crazy. What are you talking nonsense about? Faye was afraid that his emotional excitement would affect his condition again. She quickly pressed him down. Cole, don't worry. I'm fine. But the slap mark on her face was still clearly visible. Looking at the hands of those two people overlapping, Nyla suddenly broke down. You have been having an affair with this woman for a long time. Right. Me. 12 I know that dog blood romance novels can be very absurd. But I didn't expect it to be this absurd. At this moment, I even have the urge to tear up the book. Rose's expression was angry. Nyla. Watch your words. Nyla seemed to finally realize how excessive her words were just now. A trace of panic flashed in her eyes. She took a step forward as if she wanted to say something but stopped abruptly. Cole took a deep breath and pointed at the door. You go. From today on, I never want to see you again. His tone was very calm. So calm that it was terrifying. Nyla finally panicked. Cole. I didn't mean. Nyla. I called her. With the mentality of sacrificing myself bravely if I don't go to hell. Who will? I said. He needs to rest. You have been running around all day today. Let me take you back. Nyla was in a dilemma. She probably also felt that she couldn't stay here anymore. In the end, she left with me. On the way back, she was silent all the way. Obviously, her mind was full of Cole. After arriving at the villa, the car stopped outside the gate. I was just about to urge her to get out of the car when she spoke first. Nash, I have something to say to you. She seemed to have made some major decision and said slowly. I understand now. The person I'd really love is Cole. Let's end it here. I was calm on the surface, but inside I couldn't help but curse. Please stay away from others. That guy has been made into what by you? Who cares about your love? You'd better spend more time managing your company and expanding your business at this time. If you are always thinking about love, can your company really operate normally? The young lady has no intelligence at all. No matter how much family property there is, it will be squandered. I lowered my head and was silent for a long time. Finally, I pretended to let go inside. Okay, Nyla. I'll set you free. Watching NYLAH's car leave, I quickly sent a message to Cole. Nyla broke up with me. Maybe she will go back to find you now. If you don't want to see her, ask Doc Drive. Good a cover for you. Hide. Cole's reply made me stunned. A person who is irrelevant. Does it matter whether I see her or not? I could feel the coldness through the screen. This is an attitude that the former Cole would never have towards Nyla. Before I could think of how to reply, he asked again, the words you said about hiring me to work before, are they still valid? A month later, Cole officially joined my company. However, before getting off work, someone sent an exquisite lunchbox from Nyla. Seeing that fancy thing through the glass, I only felt a headache. Damn it, the female lead has started pursuing true love again. 13. This kind of plot is the most indispensable part of dog-blood tragic love novels. Because of my appearance, the direction of the plot has changed. The female lead enters the crematorium in advance. No, she has entered the plot of chasing her husband in the crematorium in advance. Some onlookers who didn't know the situation around were envious. Wow. This lunchbox is so beautiful. But why is there a burnt smell? Someone immediately poked her and reminded in a low voice. Are you crazy? This is a meal cooked by Miss Nyla herself. How dare you criticize it? A few people shrank their necks, looked at my office, and shut up cautiously. I really have a hard time explaining. Everyone knows that I broke up with Nyla. Then she immediately started to pursue Cole, so high profile, and didn't even avoid the fact that Cole works in my company. Those who don't know might think she is deliberately making me embarrassed. Only those who know will deeply realize how stupid she is. I simply walked out. The onlookers greeted me nervously one after another and then dispersed. They pretended to work hard at their workstations. In fact, they all pricked up their ears for fear of missing the wonderful gossip. I didn't care either. I looked at the lunchbox. Cole was also embarrassed. President Sue. Don't worry. I'll deal with it now. I asked, you don't want this thing? Cole nodded. He had already given up on Nyla. Naturally, he wouldn't be moved by such low-end means anymore. I naturally wouldn't meddle. You can solve it yourself. Nyla sent Niels for a month, but still couldn't move Cole's heart. His designs were brilliant and greatly improved the company's performance. Now everyone is extremely busy. Who cares about the young lady's sentimentality? Looking at the constantly increasing numbers in my bank card balance, I was extremely happy. Look. Men should focus on their careers. Cole also seemed to be greatly encouraged. He worked overtime every day and threw himself into his work. He cut off all contact with Nyla and ignored all of NYLAH's apologies and confessions. Nyla finally couldn't sit still. This afternoon, she came downstairs of our company. The reason why I knew as soon as she came was that everyone in our company was very familiar with her car. 2 months ago, she still came to pick me up every day. In a blink of an eye, the person she pursues has become Cole. My colleagues all felt embarrassed for me, but I was full of interest. Today's forecast is for a particularly heavy rainstorm. Is the young lady scene of begging for love in the rain finally coming? 14. To be honest, I still like to watch the excitement. So I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window with the company employees and looked down. The rain was pouring down. That lonely Maybach looked ridiculous. What was even more ridiculous was the woman who came out of it. Cole was busy drawing at his workstation. The screen of his mobile phone lit up and then went dark. He didn't see it. Neela should have only made one call and then didn't call again. She threw away the umbrella in her hand and stood in the heavy rain. Wow. Colleagues made a commotion. Finally, someone called Cole. Cole, always smiling. It seems to be looking for you. Come and see. Cole came over without knowing why. He looked down and frowned. I tentatively asked, do you want to go down? Cole, call the police. Cole was impatient. She has been harassing me for a long time. I ignored her. Now she actually directly blocks at the company. It's too much. Several colleagues around nodded in succession. That's right. This kind of impulsive woman is the last one to want. Who knows what she will do next time? Now she can abandon her self-esteem to beg you. Later, she will take it back tenfold or hundredfold. It's already been said that I don't like her. Why is she still pestering? It's really... I coughed. In such heavy rain. She came to find you. Are you really not moved at all? Cole's expression was cold. Just take some cold medicine. It's not like a broken leg. I silently gave a thumbs up. Cole asked me again, by the way, Faye said that Aunt made spare ribs today. Have a drink together? I didn't hesitate. Let's go. Then I asked the driver to drive out of the basement with Cole. When we went out, we just passed by Nyla. She saw me and also saw Cole next to me. She was stunned for a moment, as if she couldn't figure out why the two of us would appear together. But she still didn't forget her purpose for this trip. She quickly wiped the rain on her face and shouted at Cole. "Huh. I know I was wrong. Please give me another chance." Okay. 15. I stepped on the brake and carefully admired her current appearance through the window. At this moment, where is the imposing manner of the young lady who said one thing and it's final? I asked Cole, don't you want to say a few words? Cole thought for a while and finally opened the window a little. We are in a hurry to go home for dinner. Please don't block the way. After saying that, he quickly closed the window as if he was afraid that raindrops or some dirty things would float in. Nala froze there as if she had been petrified. The driver stepped on the gas pedal. The tires splashed a splash of water, splashing all over her face and body. In the rearview mirror, that woman was lost and dejected as if she didn't know why things had become like this. I clicked on my phone. Cole just won the Best Design Award. Designer Kin. Awesome. I praised. Shouldn't we add a few more dishes? Cole also laughed. President Sue is a distinguished guest. Of course. We should entertain well. After this day, Nyla disappeared for a long time. At first, it was said that she was sick. The cold developed into pneumonia, and she stayed in the hospital for a long time. After that, it was said that there was a crisis in her company and the capital chain was broken. There were many people lying her around. Now that she was down, those people couldn't hold back and caused a lot of trouble. But after all, she is the protagonist. Nyla spent half a year regaining power. But at this time, NYLAH's family was greatly weakened after the internal struggle and quickly declined. And I took advantage of this time to quickly the lost market of NYLH's family, coupled with cooperation with Cole. The company continued to grow and develop and firmly suppressed NYLH's family. On the day of Cole and Faye's wedding, I was the best man. The wedding was grand and magnificent, extremely lively. The happy atmosphere almost overflowed. I also followed to eat and drink. At the end of the wedding, I saw Nyla standing far behind the crowd. She was much more haggard and no longer as delicate and elegant as before. I quickly withdrew my gaze. On the stage, the newlyweds put rings on each other and made a promise to be together for a lifetime. At the moment when they kissed under countless gazes, Nyla seemed to finally be unable to bear it and left in a hurry. I toasted with the newlyweds. Dude, happy wedding. Only when you find the right person is it worth falling in love.